Go.
Sashi Puki Jushing Metok Drum Rira Blingshi Nimpe Gempadi Sange Shingdu Mikte Owagi Drokun Namdak Shingla Shuparshu Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakim Nuyatayami Sange Shudong Soki Choknam La Jangchu Bardu Dakni Kyabsuchi Daki Chenyam Gipe Sunam Ki Drola Penshir Sange Druparsho Sange Shudang Soki Choknam La Jangchu Bardu Dakni Kyabsuchi Daki Chinyam Gipe Sunam Ki Rola Penshi Sange Druparsho Sange Shudang Soki Choknam La Jangchu Bardu Daki Kyabsuchi Daki Chunyam Gipe Sunam Ki Rola Penshir Sange Druparsho.
Yay. All right. Now we shall do the quiz. Is everyone ready? Okay. I'll take that as a yes. So it's going to be quiz 2. Here. Here we go. Hold on, I have to highlight it for me because I'm taking the quiz now. Good luck. ¿Listo? ¿Listos? Ready? Okay. Hui,
Hi, teacher.
Tracy Wong 在哪里?
Tracy Wong is working today, so she didn't come.
What?
Yeah, she work on Saturday morning. Yeah.
今天做工作.
Yeah. Today is Saturday morning in Malaysia and Singapore.
为什么?
She's a teacher. She's a teacher also.
Oh, what does she teach?
I think it's history and math.
Oh, okay.
Math teacher. Yeah.
Okay, if she's a math teacher, that's fine. I just have, so you have to ask me all the nerdy Chinese questions, okay?
Okay.
That's your job now. Okay. Okay. Let's get started. Today's class is this class 3. Okay. So this is, it's just like when you get on a plane, right before they close the doors, they tell you where you're going, just in case you got on the wrong plane. Okay? So just in case you're in the wrong class, this is ACI course 17, which is the second of 3 review courses. And we're on class number 3. And I'm teaching this class specifically to get all the homework and quizzes, etc. done, so that I can hand everything in, and so that you can do it too. You're my lovely karmic partners, all of you, whether you know it or not, okay? So we just did a review of ACI Course 6, which is about what book? Anybody?
The Sutra of the Diamond Cutter.
Who wrote it?
Someone Buddha spoke it and someone wrote it.
Damn it. You're right. Yeah, totally. So we just finished that. It's an amazing, amazing book. We just went over the core concepts, and now we're going on to course number 7. Yay! Which is about the Bodhisattva vows, the vows of a Bodhisattva. So let's talk about vows before we start. I'm mainly following the homework. Why? Well, first of all, it's easier. Second of all, so you do the homework. So during class, you can do it together. This is basically a glorified study group, okay? We're all just hanging out. I get to talk more because this is my idea, but just do your homework when we do this, and then you can just study for the quiz, and then you've done the quiz too. And in 3 weeks, you'll be done the course. Okay? Easy. And then hand it in too. And don't lose all of it, Aldo. Okay. That's broma. Okay, here we go. So we can talk about vows. So in Buddhismo, there are 3 levels of vows. Who can tell me, except Aldo? Aldo, you know everything. Be quiet. Except Aldo, what are the 3 levels of vows in Buddhism?
The pratimoksha vows, bodhisattva vows, and tantric vows.
Ooh, wow. What does this fancy pratimoksha word mean?
That's a good question. I'm not sure if it's exactly the same as refuge vows or not.
They're overlapping with the refuge vows or refuge commitments. Pratimoksha literally means personal freedom.
Oh, freedom vows, yeah.
Yeah, moksha means freedom. Like,
Yeah, I've heard them called that. I didn't never put it together before.
yeah, it's just a direct translation. Prati means like individual. Why are they called individual freedom vows?
Because that's exactly what you can achieve
Yes,
living your life according to them.
because they set the individual free. It's quite literal. Okay. And then the second,
Pratimoksha in Tibetan.
how do you say it?
Yeah.
Soso tarpa. Yeah. Soso means prati, like individual. Like a sosokewa is someone who doesn't seem to this directly. Prati jnana, in same prati. And then tarpa means freedom, like to achieve nirvana or something. Nirvana. Good question. All right. Oh yeah, but so what's the difference, anyone? This is all review before we get to the review of the review, okay? What's the difference? What's one of the main distinguishing factors between the pratimoksha vows and the bodhisattva vows? What are you trying to accomplish with the prati moksha vows, and what are you trying to accomplish with the bodhisattva vows?
Individual freedom versus freedom for all beings.
Oh, so Kelly McGee, you're telling me if you have bodhisattva vows, you don't want to be free?
All includes me.
Oh, good. Yay, good job. Good. Okay. And then the third level, according to Kelly McGee, is tantric vows. What does tantra mean?
Secret.
Secret. Yeah, tantra is a secret vows. Why are they secret?
Because it's important for you to have, I don't know if learned or practiced are the right words, but to have enough understanding before embarking upon those vows so that you can use them effectively and not cause harm to yourself or other people.
Although you're right, the real reason they're secret is because your karma hasn't ripened yet.
That's the answer to everything.
This is one of everything. No, because it's important.
Well, like that's why they're secret to me. Like that's why I haven't heard them yet. Yeah, I like that. Okay.
Because what do they say happens if you practice Lam Rim, for instance, correctly?
You get initiation.
No, Tantra happens to you automatically.
Right, like there's some people that it's less of a sort of linear path.
There's some people who meet Jason Kappa for the first time and he's like, hey, I just met you today. You want to come on Yamantika retreat with me? That's what happened to Kedrup J, who's one of the main of the two disciples of Jason Kappa. Okay, like that. So, you know, or weird stuff will just start happening to you and you'll meet angels in the supermarket, okay? Or at a restaurant in the East Village of Manhattan.
Like, I mean, I don't know, this might go, you don't have to talk about this if it'll take us off track. Because I've also noticed I think they must be slightly different lineages. You'll see like, I don't know, things online of people giving tantric teachings that seem much more open, but that to me doesn't signal that it's that my karma's ripened and I'm actually, it's not Jason Kappa inviting me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe I should go.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I can't speak for that. I mean, you should be careful about getting teachings that you're not ready for, but I don't know. If Jason Kappa walked up to you in the form of, I don't know, a cute guy and was like, hey, I have all the tantric teachings, let's go on retreat, you know? I mean, you have to be very discerning and careful, but at the same time,
right.
It's inevitably it's up to your karma. And then you could say, oh my God, it went well for a year and then he turned out to be a creep. Oh, did he turn out to be one, or did your karma shift? Because he could be a creep and then turn out to be an angel.
Right. Or my view, I guess, if I view that as illegitimate somehow, then I'm not gonna.
Yeah. I mean, if you view it as illegitimate, you don't have the karma to see it as legitimate.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But you could also see it as legitimate and it turns out to be illegitimate.
Yeah.
Or you could see it as illegitimate and it could turn out to be legitimate, or you could see it as legitimate and it could turn out to be legitimate. Okay. Moral of the story is seeds. All right. So those are the 3 levels of vows, according to Jason Kappa, according to the Buddha, according to Holy Geshe Michael, who wrote these courses. And so we're going to be studying the second level of those vows, which are the vows of the Bodhisattva. Bodhi means like Buddha. What does Buddha mean? For no money.
Awakened.
Yay! Aldo remembered something. Wow. Perfect, Aldo. Exactly. That's what it literally means. Yeah. And Bodhi is I think Buddha is a derivative of Bodhi. I think so. It's a form of the same word, meaning to be awakened. And Sattva means being or warrior. Anyway, here we go. Question 1. Name the principal commentary that we will be using for our study of the vows of the Bodhisattva. Give the author's full name and dates. Okay, so this book was written by this guy, you might have heard of him, Jason Kappa. Why is this guy, this high being, important? Anyone? Who's this gentleman?
He's the founder of our lineage.
Yes. This is the founder of the lineage you're currently studying under, okay? And he's the founder of one of the 4 major lineages of Tibet. And they call that lineage the Gelugpa tradition, which means the tradition of those who follow virtuous deeds. Okay, it's a good name. And it's I think it's true to what Jason Kappa intended. I don't know who named it that, if it was him or someone else. The other traditions are Nyingma, which means the oldest school. Sakya, which means the school that was founded at the place where there's a pale earth. The color of the earth is a pale gray. And then Kagyu, and Kagyu means those practitioners, the lineage of people who keep the word of the Buddha or something like that. Keep the lineage. Kagyu. All right, cool. So this is Gulupa. And so Jason Kappa's monk's name is Lobsang Drakpa. Lobsang means pure-minded, and Drakpa means famous. And his dates are 1357 to 1419. And the name of the book, okay, always know the name of the book you're studying, okay? I was just talking to my mom. I live with my mom right now. It's the fastest way to get enlightened, okay, everybody? I recommend it if you can handle it. So I live with my mom, and we watch Jeopardy on TV together on the weekdays because it's Jeopardy, and we were watching it, and a question came up, and I got it, and it was about Stephen King, and I was like, yeah, of course I got that, Mom. Like, I used to read Stephen King. She's like, oh yeah, I always wondered when you were young if you should be reading those big books instead of playing with anybody. Anyway, when I was reading these big books when I was a little kid, people always walk up and they're like, hey, what book are you reading? So you got to know the name of the book you're reading, because someone's going to ask you, hey, what, you're taking Wordsmith's class? What book are you reading? What book are you studying? Okay, and you got to be like, I don't know. Okay, so the book we're studying in the next class is called The Highway for Bodhisattvas. Okay, in Tibetan it's Shonglam. Shong means like the main, and like the arterial. Like this means like Lopez Mateo, like the big road. Okay, not Buenos Aires, not these little roads. Okay, not Milan. Okay, not these little roads in Guadalajara. The big road, right? What's the other one? My brain can't remember. I can't remember anything right now. Anyway, Shung means the main, and Lam means road. So this means like highway. That's how Geshe Michael perfectly translated. And Jangchub is Tibetan for Bodhisattva. It's actually the Bodhi, but it refers to Bodhisattva. Okay, so you got to know all that stuff. That's like 99.9% going to be on the quiz, and you should know it anyway. All right, here we go. Number 2, give the short definition of bodhicitta taught by Maitreya. So if you want the long definition of bodhicitta, it's in course number 2, which we're not reviewing because that's in the review course 16, and Word already did his homework for 16, okay? And if you know from the last quiz, you know that everything you do is imbued with selfishness. I'm not hiding this fact. It's true. This is Maitreya. What's so important about Maitreya or Lord Maitreya? Why should we care what this being has to say?
He's the next Buddha coming to this earth.
Yeah. Okay, he's the next Buddha. Apparently they line up. They call this the fortunate age, or I think like the age of 1,000 Buddhas or something. Supposedly Buddha Shakyamuni, which is the last Buddha, was Buddha number 5 of the 1,000. I don't know. That's what they say. And Lord Maitreya, or is he 4? I think he's 5. And Lord Maitreya will be number 6. Okay. So the long definition is really long and super complicated. I forget it. It's that mental state imbued with the wisdom, the blah, blah. I can't remember. Okay. But this one's really short and I remember it. So I say get it into your head. So here's Geshe Michael's. We're going to do the Tibetan. Okay. I'm going to teach you some Tibetan today because these classes are pretty short anyway, and I want to plant some seeds to learn Tibetan, okay? Selfish. Okay. It's the wish to become fully enlightened for the sake of all beings. Okay? And like the very wise Kelly McGee said, all beings includes who? You. So does a bodhisattva sacrifice him, her, their selves and not get enlightened for the sake of others? Would they ever do that? No. If you have a chance to get enlightened, okay, I'll teach you something. If you're in this class, you've already reached a very high state. If you care on Friday night, okay, in Mexico, there's much better things to do, I'm sure. Okay, if you're in this class in New York too, okay, to my New Yorkers, if
Not now.
that's true. Thank God for this pandemic. My class is more popular. But if you're in this class, you obviously care about people. You want to learn and you want to become more spiritually advanced, right? And so the problems at this point aren't should I or should I not kill people, steal from people, hurt people, etc. The problem is, Aldo's problems are, should I translate all these books for Geshe Michael, or should I help my whole family out by managing their real estate, or should I organize the next big project for ACI Mexico? Okay, these are Aldo's problems, okay? These are Bodhisattva problems. Which good deed should I do? Okay, so if you ever have the chance to this path will I'll clearly reach enlightenment very quickly, or do this other thing, even if it's something you've done for years, pick the path to enlightenment that's the quickest. Because as Master Shantideva says, every second you're not getting enlightened, you're hurting people. Because if you were enlightened, you could help them. Therefore, you have to get enlightened as fast as you can, or you're hurting people, no matter what you're doing. Okay, and you're not going to argue with Master Shantideva because he's the God of wisdom. Okay, his arguments are perfect and they're unbelievable. So when they say all, they mean all. Don't exclude yourself in the all. Right? Okay. And because you see yourself as yourself, you got to do it yourself first. All right? Lead by example. What's that saying? Be the change. Who said that? Is that one of Obama's campaign slogans?
Be the change you want to be.
Yeah, be the change you want to see in the world, right? It's true. If everyone did that for 5 minutes, there'd be no more problems. Literally. Okay, that's what convinced me to listen to these teachings. I'm like, if everyone just did, even if you can't become enlightened, if everyone just did unto others, for instance, for one day, there'd be no war, there'd be no poverty, there'd be no pain, at least pain inflicted by others. You still have the chance to have your own pain. Anyway, let's learn Tibetan. You ready? Okay, everyone unmute your microphone. Unmute your microphone. Todas personas. Ahorita. Víctor también. Alejandro también.
You can unmute for all.
Okay. Repite. Después yo. Repeat after me. Semke.
Okay.
Feedback. Pani
Pani.
Shendun
Center.
Cheer
Cheer.
Yeah.
Yangbak
Bangda.
Sokpe
Sope.
Hotel.
Jangchub
Jiangsu.
Du.
Do.
Yay, okay, mute your mics. Okay, gracias.
No. No more.
Now, no. Gracias. Okay. Yeah, so that's the Tibetan. Semke, the wish for enlightenment. The wish for enlightenment, sorry, is the desire to reach perfect and complete Buddhahood, because other people's goals, okay, for the sake of what other people want. All right? And don't water down the teachings. Being a bodhisattva is nearly impossible. That's why people aren't enlightened. It's really hard to really try to do these teachings. It's very difficult, okay? It doesn't have to be. For my karma, it is, for me, who grew up lying, stealing, hitting people, harsh speech, divisive speech, sexual misconduct, ill will, hating on people when they got what they wanted, and thinking everything was everyone's fault. Okay, that's all 10 misdeeds, okay? Did I miss one? Maybe I missed one. Okay, I did those all day. If you grew up like that, this is hard. If you're a perfect saint like Kelly McGee, then this is all easy. Right, Kelly? But the point is, there's no other way. You have to do it. I mean, you can figure out other ways, other traditions. I'm not saying other traditions are faulty. I'm just saying eventually you're gonna have to take responsibility for your world, which means two things. A, whatever you see out there is coming from you. And B, everything you see out there is under your protection. Because it's all coming from you, so of course it's under your protection. It's your world. Ying Hui, you wanted Tantra, that's it.
Huh?
That's Tantra. That's the whole thing. Okay? Help people and think about how it's all coming from you because it's empty. That's it. Okay? That's Bodhisattva. Semke Pani Shendun Chir, Yang Dak Dzogpe Jangchub Du. Okay? Memorize it. Question 3. Describe Jason Kappa's reaction to the idea that practitioners of the secret way do not need to follow the other two sets of vows. Yeah, this is great. So this is what happens often. I've seen it in myself. when you become a tantrika, you're like, oh, I'm on this higher path now. I don't need to do all that lower stuff. That's for lesser practitioners, not for me. I'm better than that, right? Any thoughts like that? Okay. You can think of Buddhism or the vow structure of Buddhism like the levels to a building. Okay, so all those Abhidharma teachings, like the Pratimoksha vows, are the base, the foundation. Bodhisattva vows and the teachings of the Mahayana are like the second floor. And then the penthouse is Tantra, okay? But if you put a rocket launcher to the first level, the top two are gonna fall too, okay? Understand? Let's see what Jason Kappa says. Jason Kappa says this wrong idea cuts the root of the Buddha's teachings and is like a rain of hail that destroys the tender crops of the happiness of all living kind. It reflects a total failure to grasp the higher and lower teachings, an absolute misconception that should be thrown away like so much garbage. Okay, these are not light words coming from the master. And like you're like hail that destroys crops. You're like, who cares? Okay, that's a big deal in Tibet. Okay, it's hard to grow barley on the side of Mount Everest, all right? So when the hail comes and destroys your crop, you're gonna starve and die. So this is like, you can think of it more like, yeah, like a rocket launcher to your mom's house, okay? That's what it's like total devastation, like your life is crumbling, like your mind cannot conceive of what's gonna happen to you next, right? That's what he's saying. So I think that's pretty clear. I hope you get the message. Question 4, describe the kind of person who can grant the vows of Bodhisattva. This is very important. This class is not just Bodhisattva teachings, it's the Bodhisattva vows. Okay, so at the end of this class, course 7, not this class today, at the end of course 7, in the ACI tradition, if you have a teacher who's willing, you have an option to take the Bodhisattva vows. Okay. And so you got to know, you got to look at this list. Okay. If you take the course with someone, you read this list first and go like, okay, just check boxes. Okay. If they don't check enough boxes, don't do it. Okay. Here we go. It is preferable, but not necessary, that the person who grants the Bodhisattva's vows be ordained. Okay. It is also preferable if they are someone who can give you your tantric vows. It's nice to get all the vows from one person, but not necessary. They can either be male or female, or I guess non-binary. Wait, can they be non-binary? Oh yeah, they can be non-binary for the Bodhisattva vows, but not for the Pratimoksha vows. That's controversial, but that's what the Buddha's teaching saying. Don't kill the messenger. Okay, they should be
Non-binary, sorry.
neither gender.
Okay.
Yeah. Right? That's what the teachings say. Okay. Okay, they should be someone who keeps their vows well. That's important. They should be someone, they should have the Bodhisattva intention. Okay, you can't keep your vows and not have the Bodhisattva intention, by the way, because that's basically the main vow, but it's amongst the vows as well. Yeah, vow number. We'll go over it shortly here. They should know the ceremony, because if they don't know the ceremony, they can't give you the vows. They should be a master of Bodhisattva teachings. Ooh, good luck with that one, okay? Don't take course 7 with me. And be able and willing to bring up the student. Also, don't take course 7 with me if you're expecting that. I'm joking, I'll help you. Oh, fine. They should also not have attachment in the sense of not being satisfied with what they have. Okay, that's really important, especially for spiritual practitioners. These kind of practices can bring up a lot of intense inner stuff. And sometimes, if you're doing practices that are difficult, you don't have time to buy more stuff, okay? Let me just warn you. Or go outside for a decade or so. Anyway, they should also, they should have respect for their vows, not easily be upset or angered, disqualified, or hold anger Not be lazy in the sense of having no joy in doing virtue. Not have a mind that wanders and cannot meditate well, and not be stupid in the sense of putting down the Mahayana. Okay? So if you want these vows, you should talk to Aldo, okay? Not me. Aldo's really hard to get mad. I tried. Right, Aldo? I don't know if I've ever seen Aldo mad. Or you hide it really well, okay? I don't think I've ever seen him mad. He might say a couple Mexican curses, but he's not like mad. Aldo says Mexican curses when he's happy too, so it's hard to tell. Okay. Okay, so, and all of these make sense. Basically, you want somebody who knows the vows, knows the ceremony, and is, if they're not a bodhisattva, they're on their way. They want to be. They want to help you. They want to help others. Okay, and the vows can be difficult at times. So it's nice to have someone that you can talk to about them, someone who can give you some guidance, someone who can actually help you relieve different things that come up due to purification when you have vows and are practicing Dharma or doing other spiritual practices. Okay, raise your hand if you've gone through horrible purifications. Aldo. Yes. Okay, that's pretty much everyone here that I know who's been practicing for any length of time. Okay, that means anyone who practices for any length of time is going to go through horrible purifications. What does Lord Buddha say in the Diamond Cutter about anyone who tries to practice these teachings?
They will suffer intensely.
Yeah.
What happens to people who don't practice these teachings?
Demons bring them popcorn.
And then they suffer intensely. At least when you're suffering intensely as a Buddhist, you know you're suffering for a good reason, okay? So don't worry. You can call me and we'll cry together about it, okay? All right. So all of these things make sense as far as what the true essence of the vows are. And that's what means the most. You should, it's like the law, you know, do your best to follow it, but be smart about it, okay? Don't become fundamentalist. That's really bad. I know, because I'm a recovering fundamentalist Buddhist, okay? I'm going to 12-step for it. Hi, my name is Word. I'm a fanatic Buddhist, okay, like that. Yeah, don't be annoying to people. Don't tell other people about their vows. Don't ever do that to anyone. What did Lord Buddha say about judging other people? Course 13. Kelly McGee.
You can only judge yourself.
That's not what he said.
Oh, David's got it.
Or else you will fall.
David has the right answer.
Yes, is David? Aldo, did you let people in the class? That's your job. I'll do it for you. Aldo, you got one job, man.
I did it.
Yeah, he says, I or someone like myself can judge another, but no one else can, or else they will surely fall. Where will they fall to?
Hero says if you can repeat what you just said, he didn't hear, please.
Oh, that's the Buddha's quote. Something like, I or someone like myself can judge another, but others should not or cannot, or or they will surely fall. Where will they fall? Does that mean they're going to trip? Okay, no one knows. Okay, you should know this one.
To a lower down.
Yeah,
Lower
hell. How do you say Los Infernos? The hells? All right, there's 8 of them. You want to talk about hell? We can talk about hell. It's one of the favorite Buddhist pastimes. All right, here we go. Okay, so that's what a vow giver should be like. What should a vow taker be like? That's you if you don't have your vows. If you want them, right? Describe the kind of person who can take the vows of the Bodhisattva. Okay. Excuse me. The kind of person who can take the Bodhisattva vows is someone who really wishes to take them. Okay, that's important. You can't take them on accident. You can't just walk in a ceremony and be like, you start repeating things and someone's like, you have the vows. You're like, what? Oh, I don't want vows. Okay, that don't happen. Although I do know someone, the first time they met Geshe Michael, they took Bodhisattva vows. They just walked in. They were like, we're taking Bodhisattva vows. He's like, you want them? He's like, yeah. And then they took the vows. They're a very amazing practitioner too. So I think we have a Kedrib J situation there. Someone who has a compassionate nature. And, relatively speaking, okay, if you're working on it, don't worry about it. If you want it, that's even more important, perhaps. And who knows the vows, wink, wink, okay, course 7. And we're going to go over all the first 18 now. And then intends to keep them. That's important. You can't just be like, I'll take these vows. And is based in morality. So, for instance, avoids the 10 non-virtues well. And it's also really helpful if you have the pratimoksha vows, which the 10 non-virtues are included in things to avoid in the pratimoksha vows, along with the refuge commitments. Okay. So if that describes you, you are a candidate. All right, here we go. List the first 9 root downfalls of the Bodhisattva vows. Use the short verse forms. Okay, so they're called root downfalls because if you break them, you lose your vows. Okay? Is that right? Sounds right. I hope that's right. It's bad to break these ones, okay? And it's really hard to break them, actually. To break them successfully, you have to basically be like, I don't care. I'll do that over and over and over again to hurt people forever and ever and ever. And I have no feeling of regret whatsoever that I just broke that vow. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. You have to go total Skeletor, okay? That's a bad guy. Maybe I should do a modern bad guy. Lex Luthor? I don't know. Thanos. You have to be like Thanos, okay? Everyone knows who Thanos is, right? If you don't, we can have Marvel movie night and I can give you real education. Okay. Thanos is a bad guy. So the first one, the first root downfall, of which there are 18 of 64 vows. So that's 18 root downfalls and 46 secondary vows. Okay. Secondary meaning if you can't lose your vows by breaking them. Not secondary meaning they're not important. All right, here we go. The root downfall of praising yourself or criticizing others. And these vows are all very specific, actually. Doesn't mean, because if it was just the praising yourself or criticizing others, I would have lost these vows a million times. I criticize Aldo every time I see him, like right to his face. I just tell him, Aldo, what are you wearing? What? I'm like, what's up with that hat? Come on, man. I say stuff like that, okay? So it's not like that, because if it was just criticizing others, that broke this vow, no one could keep these vows unless you were already a high bodhisattva or a Buddha, right? Or something like that. It specifically goes to praising yourself in comparison to other people teaching the Dharma, or I think specifically Mahayana teachers. I'm almost certain, 99.9%. Actually, I'm 100% certain. And criticizing them. Like, you would have to say, oh, you're going to Aldo's ACI class? Aldo? I mean, come on. Come to a real ACI class with me. Mine's is better, his is worse, okay? That would be breaking the vow if you meant it. And then to really break it, you have to be like, that is completely true. I believe that forever. No one can tell me different. Okay? When clearly it couldn't be true. I mean, even if we both teach good classes, someone's going to like his class better than mine and vice versa. That's just how things work, right? And do I know all the details about each one of these vows? No, I forget it. Did I study a lot for this class? No, I didn't. So we're going to go over them and I'll give you all the details I remember, okay? Because actually, it doesn't actually ask to explain them. It just says, just list them, all right? So we're just listing. If you want the full story, take course 7 with Aldo. Okay, the root downfall.
ACI home office is teaching it next week.
Oh, really?
And Geshe-la is giving the vows.
Oh, wow, that's so cool. I didn't know. Is it going to be online?
Yeah, it's gonna be online. It starts Thursday 12, and then I think the 28th, Geshe-la is giving the vows.
Is he doing it every day or something?
No, the 28th of January, I think.
No, is he teaching every day from the 21st to the 28th? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if he's teaching. I don't know who's teaching, but I know he's giving the vows.
Oh, okay.
All different. It's all different senior teachers, I think, in all different languages. Like, I know Hector's teaching part of it.
Oh, wow. Cool. Yeah, you guys should take that. Maybe we can find information. I won't, but Aldo might. Okay. 2, the root downfall of failing to give the Dharma or material assistance. And I mean, this is the core of being a bodhisattva. I mean, you give material assistance, and it's really particular. I mean, it's like, it's not if you like walk around New York handing out 20s, okay, and food and, you know, masks for coronavirus or something like that, and teaching everyone you meet the pen. It's, you only break this vow if you like, if someone needs something and you're just like, and you're like the only person they can get it from, and you're like, nah, forget it. Like I don't care. Like, I don't, you know? So it's hard to break these vows, really, especially if you have the intention already to help people. So that's that one. Number 3, the root downfall of failing to accept one's apology or suggestion. Oh God, I don't remember that part. Uh-oh. I confess never taking anyone's suggestions ever. Especially not Aldo. Sorry, Aldo. Okay, that's my confession.
I confess I gave wrong the dates of the ACI 7 course. You should check it more properly because I gave the dates wrong.
Just put it in the chat. Just put the link in the chat.
Okay.
Thanks, Aldo. Anyway, no, I'm working on my suggestion issue, but so, or striking another. And I think to break this vow, you have to have a problem with somebody, get mad about it, feel resentment for it for a long period of time, and then they come up to you and try to apologize, and you're like, F you, and then you hit them in the head, or you hit them in the head. like punch them. You're like, I don't care about you, and go, psh, okay? After you've been mad for a long time. So that's what I remember. I'm almost definite about that. And then the root downfall of giving up the greater way or teaching false dharma. So I forget all the parameters, but basically you have to say, oh, Mahayana, that's dumb. I don't care about that. And teach people things that aren't true. All right. Number 5, the root downfall of stealing what belongs to the 3 jewels. So that's pretty simple. And generally this is like stealing from your sangha, stealing from your teacher, stealing things that are in a temple. And like, I'm pretty sure none of you would do this on purpose, but for us who are maybe closer to the Lama, and sometimes the Lama will give students money to give to somebody, or to handle in some way. You have to be really careful about that. There's a saying, what is it? Oh, the Sangha's possessions are like poison. Meaning, if you do the wrong thing with Sangha goods, you can really hurt yourself karmically. So you got to be really careful. That's the same. And that could be, if you're in New York, for instance, if you go into 3 Jewels, that could also be wasting someone's time who's working there, or somehow not cleaning up after yourself and someone else has to do it. Obviously those are more minor examples, but as you get more virtuous, you have to think in more subtle ways, because you're not going to rob the 3 jewels at this stage. Probably. Right? So think about the minor things that could be along the lines. We call it the concentric circles theory. Meaning, if you never even want to waste someone's time that works at the 3 jewels or something like that, you would never get to the point of robbing it either, okay? Because you're way out into the margins of even coming close to breaking a vow. And that's true of everything, okay? All right, so 6. The root downfall of giving up the highest dharma. Does someone have a comment in the chat? Oh, yeah, course 7. Thanks, whoever put that in the chat. Kelly McGee and Jules Britt. I don't know how to pronounce that. Okay. The root downfall of giving up the highest dharma. Don't ask me how this is different than 4, because I forget. I think, oh God, hold on. I forget.
I have my notes from before.
Okay, tell me.
When you discount the validity of the listeners, the self-made Buddhas.
Yeah. Okay, that is what I thought. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's this one. Yeah, thank you, Kelly. Yeah, so this is discounting other parts of the Buddhist path, which we call the listener path, the self-made Buddha path, and then the Bodhisattva path. So, and specifically, I think you have to say, oh, if you follow those teachings of the self-made Buddhas, you can't become an arhat. You can't reach nirvana, which is false. If you follow those teachings, you can reach nirvana. And I'm pretty sure that's specifically what you'd have to say to break that vow. Right, Kelly McGee? You got something like that down there?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, 7. The root downfall of taking away someone's robes and the rest and removing someone from the status of an ordained person. Now, you probably could never break this vow, but there are people who could. There was a conflict, invasion, war, whatever you want to call it, between China and Tibet in the 50s. And at that time, I think 20% of the population of Tibet was ordained, which is an incredible number of any population. So I think there was 6 million Tibetans in that time. So in 1959, I believe. So like 1.2 million people were ordained, approximately. And at that time, they had, so many of them had their robes taken from them, their status as an ordained person stripped from them, et cetera, right? And so if any of those people who did that had those vows, they would have broken it, okay? I would say very few, if none of us will ever be in a position to even do that. But those things happen throughout history. You know, if you study the history of the world, all these different religious wars and dynastic wars and clashes between civilizations, often, I mean, religious institutions are often the backbone of a civilization and sometimes hold the power of that civilization, right? What's that word? Theocracies, right? Like, you know, the Vatican, for instance, run by the religious head, the Pope. So anyway, in those situations, as a soldier perhaps, or a politician or what have you, you could be in a position to take away someone's robes. So don't do it. All right. 8, the root downfalls of committing one of the 5 immediate misdeeds. Okay. Anybody tell me, what are the 5 immediate misdeeds and why are they immediate?
Killing your mom, killing your dad, intentionally drawing blood from a Buddha, killing an arhat, schism in the Sangha.
Yay! Good.
And
Which
they're
one?
immediate because you collect the seeds to go immediately to hell.
Yes, exactly. Which one of those 5 can't we commit now?
A schism in the Sangha because it's actually referred to the real Buddha's Sangha, like his close followers at his time.
And
Drawing blood from the Buddha.
yes. Okay, Aldo. I'll give you $10 because I'm cheap. If you tell me what famous person committed 2 of those vows, who did 2 of those deeds at once in Buddhist history?
The son of the king Bimbisara. I don't remember his name.
Ah, you lose.
What's the son of this famous king?
Exactly, King Udayana.
King Udiana, yes. Bimbisara was, yeah.
He was the other king.
Close, but not enough.
So close.
He
I
was,
keep my $10. Huh?
he was a vow holder and he did that?
No, he wasn't a vow holder, but he killed his father, who was an arhat.
That's bad.
Yeah, it's real bad. He's probably still down there in the lowest hell. Oh, okay. Anyway, so those are the 5. So this, I mean, you shouldn't do any of those anyway, right? You shouldn't go around killing arhats. I mean, that seems pretty silly. Would you know if you killed an arhat, by the way? So what does that mean?
Don't kill anyone.
Yay! Good. Perfect. And it's not like killing other people is some great karma, okay? just to be clear, All right. So those are the 5 immediate misdeeds. There's 5 less than immediate misdeeds. You know that list, Aldo?
Don't remember.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's the 5 near immediate misdeeds. I think it's killing your llama. One's horrible, like raping a Sangha member. That's horrible, but that is one. And then one is burning down a temple, like destroying a temple. And I forget, I was trying to think of the other 2. We'll look it up, but those aren't that. You go to like the second lowest hell if you do those or something. Also not a good look. Okay, and number 9, the root downfall of holding wrong views. So there's like 5 famous wrong views. Should I go over all 5 of them? Maybe. What's the most famous wrong view of them all?
I didn't do anything.
Yes, Kelly. Yes, perfect. Kelly McGee, explain the most famous of all the wrong views.
Is it just thinking things are self-existent? Like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So thinking things have their own nature, like their own.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I'm struggling to explain it in a clear, straightforward, non-Buddhist terminology way. But like thinking things exist the way they exist for everyone.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I say stuff like that too, especially when I'm talking to like non-Buddhist or I don't want to sound preachy. Geshe-la has a pretty cool one he does. To think that any qualities of something are in the thing. In the thing. Like, and that in means self-existently, you know? But if you say self-existently or self-nature, those words, people are like, what is that? Self-nature, self-existent, right? But like the good taste of spaghetti is in it. And obviously you can say that, you can explain that in 2 seconds. One person likes the spaghetti, one person doesn't. It's not in it, right? And then 2,500 years of arguments commence. Okay, good. That's the most famous one. There's 4 other ones. They're like thinking that doing certain austerity practices will ever amount to anything. Thinking that your view of the world, which is wrong, is the best. Thinking that you and the stuff that you call yours has a self-existent nature of its own. That things have any self-existent nature of their own. Maybe there's another one I missed, but that's basically it. Okay, and now list 10 through the 18 root downfalls of the Bodhisattva vows using the short verse forms. Okay, so we're just doing the other 9, okay? Because they're 18. How many Bodhisattva vows are there in all?
6, 4,
Yes. How many root downfalls?
18.
How many secondary downfalls?
64 minus 18.
That is 100% correct. That number happens to be 46. Thank you. How do you say? 46? Something like that. Okay. So, okay, number 10. The root downfalls of destroying towns and such. The and such refers to, it's like towns, cities, villages. There's 4 levels to it. I'm fairly certain. So this is another one that you know, it's going to be hard for David to destroy a town. I mean, he's going to have to work really hard. You know, even if he can get his hands on that much fertilizer, you know, how's he going to like spread it around the town before someone catches up to him? Okay, David, don't do that. For instance, no, really, like this more refers to, again, like kings, nowadays presidents, you know, like if Donald Trump had this vow, he probably broke it, you know, if not in Afghanistan or Pakistan, then perhaps Iraq or, you know, Syria, right? Like this vow could be more pointed towards like kings and people like who have a lot of power. And this happened throughout history quite a bit. If you know anything about the Mongols or Tamerlane, for instance, or various generals throughout history, you know, they would destroy whole towns, whole villages, whole cities. I mean, in the American Civil War, they burnt Atlanta like to the ground. All right, the whole city of Atlanta, and so forth. I mean, the British burnt the White House to the ground in like 1814, right? If you know anything about American history or care, which you don't. Anyway, so don't destroy stuff. I mean, and what is, I mean, you're not going to destroy a town, right? But what would be something you could do that would be akin to that, like close to that, that you shouldn't do?
Throw garbage.
Oh my God, that's the exact example that I was thinking of. Aldo, I take everything back about what I said about you, okay? No, I'm joking. Yeah, exactly. Something like that, like taking what's held in common, like in English we call it the commons, right? Common property, like you know, you could see like all this plastic that's in the ocean nowadays, for instance, like dumping your waste in things that are held by other people. I was walking today. It was a beautiful winter day in Pennsylvania, and I was walking. I just saw this like random trash. Like, I'm like, how did that get there? Like, that would. It's not like, you know, something you would like throw out your window. Like, it's like it was like a bottle of bleach, like a bleach bottle. I'm like, who just throws that out their window? Like, how did that get there? You know? Oh, people. Anyway, like that. So like, don't destroy what other people are using out of your disrespect, laziness, lack of consideration. Okay, and that, I mean, captured within that is basically all of environmentalism. So like, to be a Buddhist, Bodhisattva, you must be an environmentalist, because how can you how can you help all beings and destroy where they live and how they sustain themselves at the same time? That doesn't make any sense, okay? So you got to do both. I'm sorry. Anyway, question, Val 11. The root downfall of teaching emptiness to a person who is not yet mentally prepared. Okay, I've done this one like 600 times, right? And I apologize. It wasn't on purpose. I was trying to help people. Sorry. But this happens because you don't always perfectly know who is ready for an emptiness teaching, okay? And sometimes you want to help people, so of course you want to give them emptiness teaching. And then they get really mad at you and say, nah, it's a pen to the dog too. And you go, oh, I'm sorry. And they punch you and walk away. All right? Sorry. So just be careful. And also had people really ask me for emptiness teaching, and I didn't give it to them because I was scared that I was going to break my vow. And I was like, no, I don't know. No, leave me alone. And so that's hard too, because maybe that's what they needed. They really asked me. I don't know. Maybe I should have told them. I know what they look like. Maybe I can find them. Anyway, don't be really careful. I mean, in Buddhism, we're not supposed to proselytize. You know that word, Hero, in Espanol? It means preach, like preach. Like you can't hang out on the corner of, you know, Buenos Aires and Ruben Darío and say, la vacuidad, la pluma, you can't do that, okay? You can't preach to people who don't want it. But if people come to a teaching, they're basically saying, I want this teaching, so you can give the teaching. And that's why Geshe Michael, he'll teach the pen. He doesn't go around asking each person, like, did you want the pen teaching? Are you ready for the pen teaching? It's just like, no, you came to the teaching by the guy who wrote the Diamond Cutter Sutra. Everyone knows you're going to get the pen teaching, okay? So if you don't want it, you got to stick your fingers in your ears or something, right? But also, to be a good teacher, which you're all going to be, because you're all really smart and bodhisattva types, right? To be a good teacher, you have to make den. What's make den? It's one of the 10 qualities of a teacher in Tibetan.
Is it discernment?
What kind of discernment?
I don't know, scriptural discernment?
No, not quite, but.
Like teaching to the capacity of the student, that one?
Woo! Yay! Perfect. Exactly. Make den. Ma means to speak or be a professor or something. Ke means like a master. Kepa. Den means to possess those qualities. So it means specifically, it refers to the teacher's capacity to speak, to teach the level of their students, right? And sometimes it's hard in groups. Oh my God, it's really hard. I've taught classes for 20 something years now, various different kinds of classes. And it's hard. It's like yoga, you're teaching a yoga class and one person in the back is like doing handstand splits and someone in the front can barely do triangle pose. And you're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And it's like that with Dharma too. I mean, you know, if you're Geshe Michael and you have Aldo in class in the back yelling out all the answers, and then some new student comes, you know, you're like, you got to try to give. I mean, I'm the worst. I'm horrible to teach for, okay? Because I get bored in like 5 seconds and I think I know everything, okay? It's horrible. So, you know, if you have some horrible person like me in the back and then some newbies in the front, it's difficult, you know? So you have to really gauge your audience. And sometimes the thing that you need to teach your students isn't some new information. You have to teach them patience, okay? So that way, maybe Geshe Michael will just make you sit with a class with beginners and not teach you anything new, because what you need is patience, not another Tibetan word, unfortunately. Okay, so be careful who you teach these teachings to, but also be prepared to teach everybody. Not easy. Okay, 12, the root downfall of causing a person to turn back from total enlightenment. Okay, and so this one's very specific. Basically, someone has to be on the Mahayana path, want to achieve total enlightenment, and you tell them something, and they're like, I don't want to even get enlightened anymore. This whole Bodhisattva thing is stupid. I'm not studying anymore. I'm not trying to meditate. I'm leaving Buddhism. I'm leaving Mahayana forever. Bye. Okay? And that's pretty hard to do. Okay? So unless you completely lose yourself, lose it on somebody, you'll be okay. Okay. 13, the root downfall of causing someone to give up the morality of freedom. Here we go. Here, Aldo, here it is. Sotar, it's an abbreviation of Sosotarpa. Okay, and pong means to eliminate or throwaway or something like that. And so that's what Geshe Michael translates as the morality of freedom, soso tarpa, pratimoksha vows, as Kalimagi told us perfectly. So basically, yeah, doing something that, because again, it's levels. You do pratimoksha and then bodhisattva and then tantra, right? So you don't have to give up pratimoksha to get to bodhisattva. Although when you get to bodhisattva, there's going to be times when, if you have a decision that means you have to taking the higher path or the lower one, take the higher one. But it doesn't mean discarding the lower ones or thinking they're irrelevant. It just means what I said earlier about always doing what you can to get enlightened the fastest. And if there becomes a conflict between your tantric vows, if you should have them, and the bodhisattva vows, tantric vows. Okay? That's because the purpose of the tantric vows is to get you enlightened in one life. Understand? What's that song? You take the high road, I'll take the low road. We'll meet together in the middle. Okay. That's an old one. Anyway, don't discourage people from their pratimoksha vows. 14, the root downfall of holding that a person cannot eliminate desire and the rest by following the way of the learner. So maybe I mixed up 14, information on 14 with, what's that one? With 6. So 14 does say, in your mind, discounting or believing that following the Hinayana cannot lead to nirvana. And it does. And so therefore, believing that that's the case, that you cannot, is breaking vow number 14. And if you want all the details in this vow, again, you should take Geshe Michael's course on it, or whoever is going to be teaching all of them. And the information is in the chat. This is just the review. Okay, the root downfall of professing the complete opposite, that is saying that you have seen emptiness or deities and the like directly when you have not. All right, so there's 2 things about this that you should know. First of all, well, 3. First is, if you tell this to someone you have not seen emptiness directly, for instance, you've also broken one of your pratimoksha vows, right? Which is the vow about lying, because the vow about lying is not lying in general. Because the vow about lying was about lying in general, no one would have their pratimoksha vows, right? Because everyone lies all the time if they're human. I mean, maybe not purposefully and maybe not a lot, but things happen. I try really hard not to lie, but little things like gray areas and stuff, it's difficult sometimes. Okay, so if you say, guess what happened to me last week, Aldo? Remember that whole direct perception of emptiness thing you've been trying to do for the last decade? I did it. Ha 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 ha. Okay? If you say that and it's not true, even if it is true, that's another point. You're not going to say that, but don't say that if it's not true, okay? Okay, now let me say something. If it is true and you have seen emptiness directly, I mean, you're going to know this anyway, or you do meet deities, or some other amazing spiritual thing happens to you, okay? Be very careful who you tell. Better to tell the least amount of people, and if anyone at all. And if you tell anyone, only tell people who are Two things, gonna rejoice in it and be like, oh my God, that's so cool. And, or hopefully more and, but maybe or, and it's gonna help them on their path. Really, I'm telling you this from the bottom of my heart. Be really careful who you tell about any cool spiritual stuff that happens to you. Because if they don't get it and they're like, what are you talking about? It's gonna take some of the juice out of your amazing experience. And if they don't understand it, it might dissuade them or push them away from them having such an experience in the future. And you really don't want to do that. Okay, so if cool spiritual, in the Galupa tradition, I mean, to tell you the truth, on all these yogic paths, eventually you get powers. You get superpowers. I mean real superpowers. Flying, walking on water, turning lead into gold, reading people's minds, all that stuff will happen to you. Okay, if you meditate, especially if you meditate a lot, especially if you got some past life seeds for being a yogi, and especially if you do these practices. Don't talk about it with just anyone. Okay, because people don't believe in that stuff usually. They'll be like, nah, you didn't walk on water. That's not possible. What happened? Jesus walked on water, right? And then his disciple, he brought his disciple, who was it, Peter? I think it was Peter, on the water with him. And then he started to sink. Why did Peter start to sink?
He didn't have faith.
Yeah, look at all my little Christian friends. Yeah, he started to doubt. He's like, I don't know about this water thing. That must be frustrating as Jesus. He's like, I'm on the water. Like, what are you saying, Peter? Come on. Pedro. Right? I think I'd be frustrated as Jesus. Anyway, so don't make those claims. And anyway, after you see emptiness directly, it is said, after someone sees emptiness directly, they become an Arya, a superior being is literally what it means, okay? It means they're not human anymore. There's some other kind of being. It doesn't mean Aryan. That's another thing that's really bad and got used, okay? That's a bad word. And it means people think they're better than you because the color of their hair, which is stupid, okay? It's very stupid. All right, if you believe that, I'm sorry, it's stupid. You might not be stupid, but the belief is stupid, okay? So you become an Arya, and generally an Arya will not directly tell you, hey, guess what? I saw emptiness. Okay, so if someone comes up to you and says that, just be a little suspicious. I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just saying be a little suspicious. All right, 16, the root downfall of accepting what belongs to 3 jewels when someone presents it to you. Okay, so this isn't stealing it. We already had that one, right? That was number, did I miss it? Yeah, number 5. This is accepting stolen property. All right, this is like, hey, I got this statue from Sarah, Aldo, you want it? It's Avalokiteshvar. Where'd you get that word? The monks let me borrow it, okay? Okay. If some shady person tries to give you a tanka from Sarah May, don't take it, okay? All right. So don't accept stolen goods from the 3 jewels. Don't accept stolen goods, period, but especially from the 3 jewels, especially if you have this vow. 17, the root downfall of rejecting the practice of quietude and giving the possessions of meditators to those who practice recitation. Okay? And I think the modern form of this, really, because you're not going to do that. You can't do that at all because you're not some king or anything. But the modern form of this is discounting a yogi and thinking some business person is more successful than them. In your mind, you see someone, they made $1 million. It's like, oh my God, they made $1 million. That's awesome. And then you see some like sincerely practicing, you know, Buddhist or yogi or what have you. And you're like, what's wrong with them? Why don't they do anything with their lives? Okay. It's like that. Or even in your own mind, maybe you're thinking like, I didn't make $1 million. Do you know Elon Musk just became the richest person in the world? He just edged out Jeff Bezos. Yeah, it just happened. Okay. $185 billion net worth. Okay. So you're thinking, oh my God, Elon Musk, he's awesome. But Dalai Lama, what does he do? That's dumb. Going around the world teaching people. Okay. Just stuff like that. Don't think that way. Because back in the day, what would happen, you know, in ancient Tibet or India or what have you, a reciter could be like, you know, and people are like, oh my God, he knows so much Buddhism. Hey, take all that stuff from that lazy bum over there. What's his name? Shantideva. Oh, take his stuff and give it to this guy who can recite a bunch of stuff. Because recitation is external. It's obvious. It's clear that this person's studying. Meditation is internal. How do you know if you've seen an Arya on the street?
You don't.
Exactly. You have no idea. And other people had no idea too. That's why Master Shantideva they tried to kick him out of the monastery. The God of peace and wisdom himself. Literally Manjushri incarnate. Okay? They kicked him out of the monastery. Why? Because it looked like he was lazy. Because they couldn't tell. You can't tell who's a bodhisattva. You can't tell who's an arhat. You can't tell who's an arya. You can't tell who's a Buddha. Okay, maybe if you're on that level or close to that level, you can tell. But until then, one of my teacher and a teacher of mine too said, if I brought Lord Naropa in here, who's basically the founder of our tantric lineage, via Lord Buddha, if I brought Lord Naropa in here right now, you would think he was a homeless bum. You would kick him out. Okay? Probably has huge dreadlocks, wearing like a cloth and dirty. And you'd be like, get out. Like, you're in the wrong building, sir. We're having a Buddhist class tonight. Okay? So be careful. Some of the wisest people I have ever met have been homeless people on the street of Philadelphia. Okay? They've looked me dead ass in the eye and told me the greatest wisdoms ever. So be extremely careful. Okay, there you go. Number 18, the root downfall of discarding the wish for enlightenment. Okay, obviously you shouldn't do this one because all of them are predicated on this one. Okay, so number 18, does he have it here? Oh yeah, he does. What is it? Wait, hold on. Let me just check something. It was 18 and 9.
Question 10, the last question.
Yeah, I saw that. Hold on.
It's 18 and one before it, it says.
Okay, here it is, 9. Okay, yeah, I thought so. Okay, good. Thank you. I missed it when I glanced. Perfect. So I won't explain it now. But basically, if you do 18, all the rest get canceled, okay? So don't do that one. So we have 6 minutes and I'm gonna finish. Maybe we'll go over because it's Friday and we're throwing down. Oh. Not really, we're not. Okay, describe the result which is required for the 11th root downfall to occur. So what's the 11th one again? The root downfall of teaching emptiness to a person who's not yet mentally prepared. Okay, let's see. Did I break this vow? Let me see. as a result of your presentation of the concept of emptiness, a person who had already entered the greater way, the Mahayana, becomes frightened or disturbed. They give up the teachings of the greater way and they enter the lower way. Okay, I don't think I ever did that. And if I did, I'm sorry. But I don't know about it. So basically, someone has to be like, oh my God, this Bodhisattva stuff is so cool. And you're like, do you know everything is empty? Nothing exists at all, like this pen. And you're like, oh my God, what? Oh, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go next door to study Hinayana. Okay, and you're like, no, I broke my vow. Okay, like that. So don't do that. Okay, number 9. Describe how the 13th root downfall is committed. What's that one again? Is that, oh yeah, causing a person to give up the morality of freedom. Let's see if what I said earlier was right. You tell someone who's keeping their freedom vows that keeping these vows is not very important for attaining enlightenment, and that they should rather develop the wish for enlightenment and enter the greater way. The vow is broken when they agree and give up a moral life of following these vows. Okay, I alluded to that, but didn't say it exactly. So basically, yeah, you tell them that, oh, you're a bodhisattva now. You don't need the prati moksha. Pfft, get rid of that. And they're like, okay, forget that. I only do bodhisattva. So you might even think you're doing a good thing. Okay, so it's not either or, it's both. You can do prati moksha. You can have the prati moksha vows and do the bodhisattva vows. Okay, and then 10. The 18th root downfall and one other before it are particularly serious and occur whether or not the 4 mental afflictions called the chains are all present. I don't know if we review the chains. Okay, there they are. They're in next class. Okay. The chains are what you need to break the vows. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We'll talk about it next class on Monday. Name this other root downfall and describe it briefly. So basically, the chains are what you would have to do to really break the vow. And it takes effort. You basically have to think to yourself, I would do this over and over again. I have no regret for it, stuff like that. So with these ones, you don't have to do all that because basically they're the backbone of bodhisattva thinking. And so the 18th one, which is giving up the discarding the wish for enlightenment altogether, being like, I don't want to be no bodhisattva, this is dumb. So if you do that, vow's nullified. Or the 9th, which is holding wrong views. So there are 2 classic types of wrong views, and that is, I didn't say this, this is true. That's believing there is no such thing as bad karma and believing there's no such thing as past and future lives. Okay, and that's just basically believing things are caused, honestly. So if you hold to those views, and then we have a thing in Buddhism we call shelving it. So you don't have to be like, I perfectly agree with everything Jason Kappa ever said. I'm a bodhisattva to not break your vows. You just have to be like, well, I don't exactly know about that. It seems like it could be true, but I haven't confirmed it in my heart. But I'm not going to discount it. I'm just going to put it on the shelf in my mind for later and think about it until I can ascertain it. Make sure it's true for myself. That's called shelving it. I think that's what Lord Maitreya recommended specifically. Oh, who's the next Buddha? Okay. That's it. Yay. We did it. Any preguntas?
I have a question.
Uh-oh, Aldo question.
For the 18th root downfall,
Yeah.
discarding the wish for enlightenment, bodhicitta,
Yeah.
Have you heard like commentaries that they say like how much time? Like for example, if you are tired and you sleep like 13 hours and you have like a bad dream and you don't remember what it shit about. Have you heard like for one day or
Oh, I don't know. I think it really has to be a sustain. I mean, there's other things similar to this, like getting angry at a bodhisattva or something. Like I got mad at my mom yesterday. Okay, I confess. Or was that 2 days ago? Um, I was really mad for like, I don't know, 10 seconds or something. And then I was like, what have I done? Right? Okay. So it's just like, that doesn't count. I mean, you really have to me, I don't know what commentary specifically, but I would imagine something like, I am done with this teachings. I don't care about them. I don't care about all beings. I don't want to get enlightened. This is all stupid. Forget about it. And like really have that in your heart. Like the same way you have in your heart now that you would never, the opposite, like Aldo specifically, like you would never go and rob somebody, right? Like what would it take for you to rob somebody? You see what I'm saying? Like the level of certainty in your heart that you're not going to rob somebody tomorrow is, I think, the level of certainty in your heart that you would have to hold to have to be like, this whole thing is dumb, you know? Yeah. So that's what I think. As far as commentaries, I mean, we could look. I probably won't look, but we could. You could ask Geshe-la when he teaches it next week. Or maybe we'll do course 7. There's probably something. I'm just busy. Maybe I'm not that busy. Maybe I'm just lazy. I'm lazy. Okay, any other questions? No. Okay. Well, it's Friday. I got a big party to go to, so let's wrap this up. Yeah, right. Leah, do you want to do mandala again?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Sashi Puki Jushin Metok Tram Vera Blingshi Ninge Dem Gempadi Sangye Shingdu Mikte Owargi Rokun Namdak Shingla Shupashu Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kanyatayami Gewadi Kewokun Sunam Yeshe Tokdokshin Sunam Yeshe Dejungwe Dampa Kunyi Tupasho.
Yay. Very well pronunciated, Leah. Good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So Monday's the quiz. I imagine the quiz questions are going to be the name of the book and the author and all 18 vowels. Okay. So definitely study what all 18 vowels are and who wrote the book, what are his years, and the name of the book. Okay. Study all of it, but I think that's probably going to be the 3 questions on the quiz, if you ask me. All right. So I'll study too, and I will see you Monday night. Okay? All right. Adios.
Thanks for
thank you were
Thank you.
Thank you, Word.
Bye, Jen.
Thank you.
希望
再见一回。
Ciao.
Adios.